Have you ever looked into the eyes of the person who claimed to love you more than life itself, only to find absolutely nothing staring back? It's a chilling, surreal moment that defies logic. One day you are their entire world, the next, you're just a face in a crowd they wouldn't even bother to acknowledge. If you're feeling that cold wind right now, I want you to know I see you. This isn't your fault, and you aren't going crazy. This sudden shift feels like a physical blow to the chest, leaving you gasping for air while they walk away as if you never existed. You start replaying every conversation, searching for the moment where things went wrong, but the math never adds up. How can someone go from knowing your deepest secrets to treating you like a total stranger overnight? It's a psychological haunting that keeps you awake, wondering if you ever knew them. You've likely spent months, maybe years, pouring your heart into a vessel that you're now realizing was completely hollow. When the narcissist turns off the lights on your relationship, the darkness is absolute. They don't just leave, they erase the history you shared with a terrifying efficiency. It feels personal because it is your life, but for them, it's just a change in scenery. They've moved on to a new act without telling you. I want you to sit with that feeling for a second, not to hurt you, but to validate the sheer insanity of what you're experiencing. Being treated like a stranger by your partner, parent, or friend is a form of psychological erasure. It's designed to make you question your own reality and your own worth. But there is a reason for this madness, a hidden logic that explains why they can flip a switch and feel absolutely nothing for you. We're going to peel back the layers of this specific, cruel behavior because understanding it is the only way you're going to survive it. When they look through you as if you're made of glass, they aren't just being mean, they are showing you their true internal landscape. It's a place where people are objects and love is a transaction. Once the transaction is over, the object is discarded. It's that simple, and yet, it's that horrific. You might be asking yourself if they're doing this to punish you, or if they've simply found someone better. The truth is much more complex and, frankly, much darker than a simple breakup. This isn't a normal ending, it's a total system reset. By treating you like a stranger, they are attempting to rewrite their own history. If you don't exist to them now, then the things they did to you don't exist either. It's a coward's escape. It's important that we talk about the eyes. Many survivors describe a specific look, the shark eyes, where the warmth vanishes and a flat, dead stare takes its place. In that moment, the mask hasn't just slipped, it has been incinerated. You are seeing the person behind the performance, and that person doesn't know how to care about you. They only know how to play a role, and they've decided that your scene is finally over. I've seen so many people break themselves trying to get one last spark of recognition from a narcissist who has gone cold. They beg, they plead, and they scream just to prove they are still there. But the more you react, the more the narcissist feels in control of the narrative. To them, your pain is just noise from a stranger. It doesn't move them because they've already deleted the emotional software that connected them to you. This video is for anyone currently standing in that freezing silence, wondering how a human being can be this heartless. We are going to break down the mechanics of the stranger phase and what it really says about their state of mind. More importantly, we're going to talk about what it says about your future. Because once you realize that their coldness is a reflection of their emptiness, you can finally stop trying to warm yourself. Stick with me through this, because by the end of our conversation, that blank stare won't have power over you anymore. You're going to see it for what it truly is, a confession of their inability to love. When a narcissist treats you like a stranger, it's the ultimate reveal. They are showing you that the person you loved was a beautiful projection, and the person standing there now is the only one who was ever really there. To understand why they can treat you like a stranger, you have to understand a concept called object inconstancy. For most people, when a loved one is out of sight or even when we're angry with them, we still feel a connection. We remember the history and the bond. But for the narcissist, out of sight truly means out of mind. If you aren't serving a current need or providing supply, you essentially cease to exist in their world. Think of them like a child who plays with a toy until the batteries run out. When the toy stops making noise or lighting up, the child doesn't feel grief, they just feel bored. They drop the toy in the dirt and walk toward the next shiny thing. You weren't a partner to them, you were a high-functioning tool. Now that they've decided the tool is broken or no longer useful, they have no reason to maintain any emotional ties to it. This behavior is rooted in a deep, fragmented sense of self. Because the narcissist doesn't have a stable core, they can't maintain stable relationships. They live entirely in the now. In their now, you are an obstacle to their new narrative or a reminder of a past they want to forget. By treating you like a stranger, they are protecting their fragile ego from the shame of how they treated you. It's a total mental block. They also use this stranger treatment as a powerful form of gaslighting. When they act like they barely know you, it makes you doubt your own memories. You start wondering if the intimacy you shared was all in your head. This is intentional. If they can make you feel like a stranger, they can make you feel irrelevant. It's the ultimate power play because it denies you the closure that every human being naturally craves. You have to realize that for a narcissist, emotions are just tools for manipulation. When they were in love with you, that was a tool to get what they wanted: attention, validation, or status. Now that they are indifferent, that is a tool to protect their new image. They don't have a reservoir of empathy to draw from. When the utility of the relationship ends, the emotional faucet is turned off instantly. There is no drip. It's like they've undergone a voluntary lobotomy of the heart. They can sit across from you at a coffee shop or pass you on the street and feel nothing but a mild sense of annoyance that you're still there. This isn't because you are forgettable. It's because their internal world is so chaotic that they can only focus on one thing at a time. Right now, that thing is their new life, and you are just a ghost haunting their progress. Most people think the opposite of love is hate, but it's actually indifference. Hate requires energy. It requires a connection. When a narcissist treats you like a stranger, they are withdrawing all energy. It's a psychological vacuum. They are showing you that you were never a person to them. You were a character in their play. Now that they've started a new play, they've recast your role or cut the character from the script entirely. This realization is incredibly painful, but it is also the key to your freedom. You've been mourning a deep connection that only existed on your side of the street. They weren't connecting with you. They were mirroring you. They were reflecting your own capacity for love back at you, and you fell in love with your own reflection. Now that they've stopped mirroring, the glass is clear, and you can see the void that lies beneath. They treat you like a stranger because they are strangers to themselves. They have no idea who they really are, so how could they possibly know you? Their entire life is a series of rebrandings. You are just part of a brand they are no longer interested in. It's not about your flaws or your mistakes. It's about their inability to hold on to anything real for longer than it takes to satisfy their immediate, bottomless hunger. When you see that blank look, remember that it is a symptom of their pathology, not a judgment of your value. A person who can erase a human life from their heart so quickly is a person who is fundamentally broken. They aren't winning by being cold. They are losing the only thing that makes life worth living: the ability to form lasting, meaningful bonds. They are drifting through life, forever alone in a crowd of ghosts. There usually comes a specific moment where the stranger switch is flipped, and it often happens right when you need them most. Maybe you asked for accountability, or maybe you finally set a boundary. In that instant, you transition from good supply to inconvenient truth. The narcissist cannot handle the truth, so they handle you by deleting you. The transition is so fast it leaves your head spinning in the silence. Suddenly, the person who texted you every morning acts like they don't have your number. The person who knew your childhood trauma now looks at you with the clinical detachment of a scientist observing a bug. This shift is a defense mechanism. By making you a stranger, they don't have to deal with the guilt of hurting you. You can't hurt a stranger, right? In their twisted logic, they've achieved a state of total innocence. This is the turning point where you must stop asking why and start observing what. Stop looking at their words and start looking at the reality of their absence. The stranger treatment is the most honest thing they have ever given you. It is the raw truth of their character. They are showing you exactly how much you meant to them, which was only as much as you could provide. It's a harsh light, but it's a light nonetheless. Watch how they move now. Notice how easily they find someone else to fill the space you once occupied. They aren't grieving, they are replacing. This is the hardest part to swallow, but it's the most necessary. If they were capable of the love you gave them, they would be in pain. The fact that they can treat you like a stranger while laughing with someone new is proof that the connection you thought you had was a total illusion. You might feel a desperate urge to remind them of who you are. You want to send that long email or show up at their door to force them to see you. But you have to understand, they see you. They just don't care. Your existence is now an inconvenience to their ego. Every attempt you make to reach out only reinforces their belief that they are the powerful ones and you are the crazy one who just won't let go. Don't do it. The power dynamic shifts the moment you stop trying to be recognized. When you accept that you are a stranger to them, you stop giving them the supply of your suffering. They expect you to chase them. They expect you to beg for a crumb of the warmth they used to provide. When you go silent instead, you disrupt their narrative. You become a mystery they can no longer control, and that is where your power begins to return. Think about the energy it takes to pretend someone you loved is a stranger. It's a massive performance. Even if they feel nothing, they are working hard to maintain that wall of indifference. They are waiting for you to crack so they can feel superior. But if you walk away without a word, the wall serves no purpose. You are essentially saying, fine. If I'm a stranger to you, then you are a total stranger to me too. This is the moment. You realize that the person who is treating you like a stranger actually is a stranger. The person you fell in love with, the kind, attentive, soulmate figure, never actually existed. That was a costume. The person who is currently ignoring you, who is cold and cruel and indifferent. That is the real person. You aren't losing a lover. You are finally meeting the stranger who has been living in their skin. It's a psychological plot twist that changes everything. You've been crying over a mask, while the monster was hiding in plain sight. Now that the mask is off, the stranger treatment is actually a gift. It's the universe pulling back the curtain and saying, look at this. This is what you were fighting for. Is it really worth your life? When you finally see the emptiness, the desire to be known by them starts to wither away. Let the silence land. Let the coldness be the final answer to all your questions. You don't need a conversation, you don't need an apology, and you certainly don't need a goodbye from someone who isn't even there anymore. The turning point is when you stop trying to wake them up and realize that you are the one who has finally woken up. You are the one who is free to walk away from the theater and into the real world. When the stranger phase fully sets in, the collapse of your reality can feel absolute. You might find yourself wandering through your own life like a ghost, wondering how so much history could result in so much nothingness. The consequences of this kind of betrayal are deep. It affects how you trust, how you speak, and how you see yourself. It's a secondary trauma, the trauma of being discarded like yesterday's trash. The narcissist doesn't care about the wreckage they leave behind. They don't look back at the fire they started. They just keep driving. This is the harsh, unflinching truth. They are fundamentally incapable of remorse. While you are in therapy trying to process the stranger treatment, they are likely telling a new person how crazy and obsessive you were. They are building a new lie on the ruins of your broken heart. You see them posted online, smiling, seemingly thriving, while you are struggling to even eat. It feels like they won. It feels like they got away with it. But look closer. A person who has to treat people like strangers to feel safe is a person who is constantly running from themselves. They aren't happy, they are just occupied. Their life is a series of shallow distractions, and eventually, the new person will become a stranger too. The consequence for the narcissist is a life devoid of depth. They will never know the beauty of being truly known by another human being because they are too terrified to show themselves. They are condemned to a cycle of temporary highs and inevitable crashes. Every stranger they leave in their wake is a bridge they've burned, and eventually, they will find themselves on a very small, very lonely island with no way back. For you, the consequence is a heavy, painful awakening. You have to mourn not just the loss of the person, but the loss of the version of yourself that trusted them. You have to accept that you were deceived by an expert. It's an agonizing process of shedding your skin. But this pain has a purpose. It is the refining fire that burns away the people-pleaser in you and leaves behind someone who is much, much harder to fool. Don't let their indifference become your self-hatred. They aren't treating you like a stranger because you are unworthy of being remembered. They are doing it because your presence is a threat to their delusion. If they acknowledge you, they have to acknowledge the pain they caused. If they acknowledge the pain, their perfect image collapses. Their coldness is a wall they built to keep their own shame from drowning them. This is the dark, honest truth. They never loved you. They loved the way you made them feel. They loved the way you looked on their arm or the way you boosted their ego. When those things stopped being enough, you stopped being a person to them. It's brutal to hear, but it is the foundation of your recovery. You can't heal from the love that was actually a parasitic extraction. You have to call it what it really was. The silence you're experiencing now is the sound of the narcissist's soul. It is a quiet, empty place where nothing grows. They aren't silent because they are thinking or reflecting. They are silent because they have moved on to the next host. You are feeling the weight of their absence, but you must realize that their presence was just as hollow. You were always alone in that relationship. You're just now noticing the lack of company. The consequence of being treated like a stranger is that you are forced to become your own best friend. You have to be the one to say, "I see you. I remember what we went through. Your memories are real." You have to validate yourself because the person who should have done it has checked out of reality. It's a lonely path at first, but it leads to a level of self-reliance that no narcissist can ever take away from you. They might come back one day, trying to act like they never treated you like a stranger. This is called hoovering, and it's just another act in the play. If they do, remember this silence. Remember the coldness in their eyes. Remember the way they let you drown while they watched from the shore. The consequence of their stranger treatment should be that they stay a stranger to you for the rest of your life. We've walked through the darkness, and now it's time to find the light. The final truth is this: when a narcissist treats you like a stranger, they are giving you your life back. It doesn't feel like a gift right now, it feels like an execution. But in reality, they are releasing you from a prison of manipulation. By cutting the cord so completely, they've accidentally made it possible for you to walk away without any lingering ties. You are not a stranger to yourself, and you are not a stranger to those who truly love you. The narcissist's inability to see you is their blindness, not your invisibility. You are a vibrant, complex, and deeply feeling human being. The fact that you feel this much pain is actually proof of your humanity. It means your heart still works. It means you are capable of the very thing they will never, ever understand: real connection. I want you to start reclaiming the parts of you that you gave away to them. Think of all the hobbies, the friends, and the dreams that you set aside to keep them happy. They didn't want those things because they couldn't control them. Now that they've made you a stranger, you are free to go back and get them. You are free to build a life that is so big and so beautiful that the narcissist wouldn't even recognize it. Healing begins when you stop looking for your reflection in their dead eyes. Turn the camera around. Look at your own resilience. You survived the gaslighting, the love bombing, and the eventual discard. You are still standing. That is a miracle. The stranger treatment was meant to break you, but instead, it is going to forge you into someone who knows their own worth without needing anyone else to verify it. There will be days when the silence feels too loud, and you'll want to reach out just to feel something. In those moments, I want you to remember that reaching out to a narcissist is like trying to get water from a mirage. You'll only end up with a mouthful of sand. Instead, reach out to the people who actually see you. Reach out to your community, to your passions, and most importantly, reach out to that inner child who is scared. You are going to move through this in stages. First, there is the shock, then the anger, then the deep, heavy grief. But eventually, there is a quiet acceptance. You will look back at this time and realize that being treated like a stranger was the moment you stopped being a victim. It was the moment you realized that you couldn't save them, but you could absolutely save yourself. And that, my friend, is where the real story begins. The narcissist will always be a stranger, no matter who they are with. They are a stranger to intimacy, a stranger to peace, and a stranger to the truth. They are the ones who are truly lost. You, on the other hand, are finding your way home. Every step you take away from their coldness is a step toward your own warmth. You are learning to love yourself with the same intensity that you once used to love them.